can't change anything, Adrian. All we can do is just go with what we are.
You can't go with what you are. Have you read the papers? Do you know what everybody says? It's suicide. You've seen him. You know how strong he is. You can't win.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and yesterday I thought I had made my last Tom King video regarding the Tom King Jae Lee situation, but Tom King surprised me. He actually came back with an apology to Jae Lee. So figured that we should probably close the subject down and talk about this very shortly. Here to talk with me about this is the man that I kind of started this with the initial conversation, the High Sparrow himself, freelance editor, freelance writer, Aaron Sparrow. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's good to be back.
Well, I'm glad you could make it, and I do want to say this to the viewers: subscribe to Thinking Critical YouTube, hit that bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up because I think you're definitely going to enjoy it. Now, Aaron, obviously we started this subject quite a few days ago. A lot of things have happened since then. Our worst fears were essentially realized when we got the firsthand account from Jae Lee on his Instagram account on all the things that he was subjected to during these allegations, especially initially when he was at a very low point in his life. Obviously, Tom King did not know that. There's no way that he could have known that, but it turned out to be a very, very a negative event for everybody, including DC Comics, and it feels like DC must have put a little bit of heat on Tom King because this is what he had to say on Twitter yesterday. As I have done privately, I'd like to publicly apologize to Jae Lee for my actions a few days ago. I should have talked with Jay before I sent a tweet about him that put his career at risk. I made a critical mistake, and I am profoundly sorry. I will do what I can to repair this with Jay, and I will do better in the future. I'm not going to offer explanations because they sound like excuses, and I'm not asking for forgiveness or understanding. I'm just saying I see what I did. I'm going to try to make up for it. Thank you. I have kept up the tweets to this point in order to show that I was not hiding my actions. I will now take them down. So obviously he did apologize. He has finally deleted the tweet in question that put all this spotlight in Jae Lee very unjustly. And I think he probably did the right thing. I think he did do the right thing.
I think he did too. It's a good apology. It doesn't prevaricate. He takes responsibility. He doesn't say, oh, I'm sorry that you were offended or anything like that. He cuts right to it. He says that he was wrong. Now, we can debate whether or not that he was coerced, because I'm sure that all Monday he was having conversations with Warner Brothers Human Resources and probably the legal department. But, at the same time, sometimes it requires us to have the full ramifications of our actions come down on us for us to see that we did wrong. So I'm not going to say that the apology isn't genuine just because I think that he did probably get a lot of heat from DC for what he did. I hope that it's, I'm going to take him at his word. I'm going to say that I think it's genuine. I have to believe that because I have to believe in forgiveness, and I have to believe in the ability to recognize your mistakes and to move on from them, and for us to forgive those mistakes. So that's the way that I'm choosing to view this. That's the way I'm choosing to move forward with it. I don't want people to think that, because we came out of the gate really harsh against King. The thing that separates us from the people that are part of cancel culture is that we do believe in forgiveness. We do believe that you can own up to your mistakes and move on from them. So I think that, if we want to practice what we preach, we have to give Tom King the benefit of the doubt. And I think it was a good apology.
I agree. Obviously, it's between he and Jay. I think what he did was abhorrent, but it feels like a very contrite apology. Obviously, we aren't really defined by our words, although kind of in today's culture, they want you to be defined by your words. I think you are defined by your actions. So we'll see how Tom King reacts in the future if he's so quick to snap and judge people on Twitter and try to lay out allegations. Maybe he realizes with the profile that he has, maybe just going out there and putting snap judgments and accusations about being associated with hate groups to people out there can really risk their career. And we saw that. We saw a lot of fallout with people just kind of still laying into Jae Lee even after Tom King had said, you know what, he actually didn't know what was going on. I was kind of wrong on this. Of course, he said, we're all good, best possible outcome. Really condescending. That was never going to fly. As long as that was his last words on it, I don't think anybody was going to be happy with it. So hopefully this apology does provide some closure to the situation. I'm not Jae Lee. I don't know how he feels, but he apologized. I think he tried to do the right thing, and hopefully the situation is over, and we'll see what the ramifications are for Jae Lee moving forward. Whether or not this is really going to affect his career, will he be losing some of those paying gigs that he's worked so many years to develop, the reputation to earn and keep earning? That people love Jae Lee covers, and we'll see how that goes for him. Hopefully he doesn't lose work. That's still be determined, really.
Jay is such an amazing talent, and everyone I know who's ever met him, I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, but I was talking to a friend of mine in the industry today, and I'm not gonna throw his name out there just because I don't want to drag him into all this, but he was saying that he had sat by Jay at a con, and that Jay could not have been nicer and more gracious, and just a really, really great guy. So to see him get attacked and to get railroaded by these just absolute abhorrent scumbags in the industry, that it's always the same little cabal that's out there spreading division and spreading hate. And if they're willing to say these sort of things in open comms, you can only imagine the things that they are doing behind closed doors. It's just one of those situations where it's like, man, I hope that this doesn't have any negative impact on him. I hope that this has a positive impact on the industry. I hope that it has a positive impact on Tom King. I hope that King realizes that he was getting caught up with people who do not have his best interests at heart. He's trying to cater to people who don't care about him and who will turn on him in a split second. It's only because he's huge at DC right now that these people have any fealty towards him at all. But it's the second there's blood in the water, they will turn on him. They are not his friends. He's much better off forming relationships with people like Jay, who are genuinely good people, just have a great reputation. He's far better off, making peace with him, and hopefully maybe they can patch things up, and maybe they can work together in the future, and maybe this will be the start of a beautiful friendship, as they say. Maybe it won't, but stranger things have happened, and I hope that Tom has kind of learned how it feels to have the internet mob come after you, and won't engage in that sort of cancel culture bullshit in the future. I hope this is a turning point for Tom King, and I hope it's a turning point for the industry.
I agree with you, but we are still hearing from people in the industry about this, and it's clear that it's not going to go away completely. So we did hear from the senior editor. So this is a very, pretty high person over at Valiant Comics, senior editor Heather Antos, and this is what she had to say following Tom King's apology to Jae Lee, where he basically acknowledged, I was wrong on this. Jae Lee had nothing to do with it. This is what she says. Still waiting for any accountability from Jay. Somebody came back with, still finding it difficult to believe that a professional has never heard of Comicsgate. And this was her response. I mean, maybe if you had no friends, peers, colleagues that were persons of color, LGBT, women, or other underrepresented communities. And the hypocrisy on this is so Khaleesi. Jae Lee is a person of color. Jae Lee's wife is in the comic book industry. And to my knowledge, she's also a person of color. Obviously, he has friends, peers, colleagues, family members that are all of these things that she's talking about here. But the senior editor, who's not a minority, but gets to speak out on behalf of all minorities while condemning a minority himself on how he's supposed to believe or how he's supposed to think. Not everybody in this world has to experience life the way Heather Antos imagines minorities experience life. Jae Lee and his wife have their own experiences. They don't have to follow in line with everything that Heather Antos tells them to fall in line with. And it just felt so condescending. Like I said, it's just like a complete Khaleesi moment as she falls into the crowd as everyone tells her that she's her queen. And it's so infuriating that we're still seeing this bullshit.
Oh, Heather Antos. I want to like Heather. I really do. But every time I see a tweet of hers, it's just like, oh my gosh, she makes it so difficult. and I don't even want to, she's young. I don't, and I don't want to.
She's not that young. She's in her 30s.
Oh, is she really? Okay, I thought she was like in her mid 20s. I thought she was just like barely removed from whatever indoctrination that she received in her gender studies course, from her college professors, that have shaped her worldview. Okay, so I can't give her the she's young benefit of the doubt. It's so ridiculous. It's like, what have you contributed to this industry in comparison to Jae Lee? What lasting effect have you had? Jae Lee will be remembered, long after he's gone as, part of this industry. What is your legacy? Like, what's your brand? Is it just complaining on Twitter? Because that's all that I really see so far. And, for her to, it's just kind of the white college girl thing right now to tell minorities, people of color, people that are LGBT in that community, it's so white college girl to tell them what their experiences are and to basically attack any of them that dare go off the reservation of what you think that they should think. It's really unfortunate. And I would like, because I'm in a mood of reconciliation and I want the industry to kind of like take this moment to weed out terrible people and to heal. Like I will make the same comment about Heather that I made about Tom King, is that I hope at some point she has an experience that kind of like shakes her and makes her realize, where she's been wrong. I don't know that that'll happen, but it would be nice. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The absolute hubris of telling a minority that, maybe if he had minorities that were friends, he would understand. Not everybody cares about the things that you do. Not everybody is wrapped up in this Twitter bullshit drama, mean girls horse shit. I barely, the only reason that I'm involved in it is
The Office.
I do, yes.
You remember when Michael Scott, I think it's the second or third issue on Diversity Day, and it's Minnie Kaling's character, and he's doing a very offensive joke about, he's an Indian 7-Eleven owner, and he's talking about Slurpees and all this thing, and she slaps him in the face, and she storms off, and he goes, "She now knows what it's like to be a minority." It's like, you know what I mean? I don't think she realizes how she's coming off here.
If you're going to go out there and you're going to say, this is the truth of everything, for everybody, whether you're a woman, whether you're a minority, whether you're, LGBT or you're a white guy. If you go out on the internet and you say shitty things, people are going to throw shit back at you. And it's not harassment. It's you said something and now you're getting the pushback. Twitter is the town square. If you go in the town square and you start yelling obscenities, you can't be shocked and hurt and a victim when people start hurling obscenities back at you. You said some offensive shit, you riled people up, and now they're going to give it back to you. That's what you earned. You went out, and I know that's probably a tough concept for somebody who's kind of been handed a lot, is that, being a white college girl, that's a senior editor at Valiant. And how many books does Valiant sell? So just kind of like check your self-importance. And I'm saying this as somebody that does that all the time. You will not see me acting like I'm some sort of celebrity. I'm not. I'm a guy who wrote a couple comic books. Even if I was writing the biggest comic books, I'm still not a celebrity. I'm just some guy. Not just some guy, trademark, but, just a guy.
It's funny, Aaron, but some people definitely go too far, and I have to admit there's actually a contributor to the channel that went absolutely too far with his feedback or his criticism of Heather, and it's Doc. Obviously Doc has been with the channel since day one. He definitely lets his emotions get the best of him, which we often see, I think is what gets people like Tom King and Heather Antos in trouble. But he came back. I think it was a Donald DeLay tweet that was responding to Heather Antos's continued condemnation of Jae Lee. And this is what Doc said. It was so embarrassing. And it was a cringeworthy moment. I hope Doc just thinks about this, maybe if he watches this video, and just thinks about what he wrote, because this is what he said. He said, "Cum dumpsters don't deserve to be heard." Now, Heather Antos says a lot of things, and certainly does a lot of things that deserve criticism. But this doesn't address any of these. This is just victimizing her. It's insinuating that maybe she slept her way to the top, which there's no proof of. That's just one of those stupid allegations out there that certainly is very mean in nature. It goes after her character. It was just completely unnecessary. What Heather's words said there were completely worthy of addressing, but going on off topic for internet clout and to score, high fives and retweets from the mob, which is essentially what Doc decided to do here. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, I don't agree with what Doc said. I think that I think we need to have a higher level of discourse than that. It's like, if I disagree with Heather, and I don't want to make Heather Antos this villain. I think that she says some really dumb things, some things that I disagree with. I don't think the things that she says are good, but I think that Doc, that's just counterproductive. It's mean-spirited. It feeds into the narrative of her being harassed, because that is a harassing type of statement. There's nothing that's about the merit of her argument, or that's about, it's just pure visceral, I'm going to hit you
or
below
even
the belt.
Insinuating she doesn't deserve to be heard, whether we agree with it or not. She is the senior editor at Valiant Comics.
Well, and even, just as a human being, she deserves to be heard. It doesn't mean that what she has to say is worth listening to, but once you hear it, but she deserves to be heard. She deserves to have her say, and I will listen to it, and then I will either decide that I agree with it, or I will dismiss it, or I will mock it. Those are my three things. But I will mock it based on the merit of her argument, not go for any kind of like personal attack. I don't know her personally, and even if I did, know things about her that you just don't have to go to that level. It's not
the golden rule, Aaron. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you.
Yeah, and I would like to think that you could have now. Obviously, it's not going to happen on Twitter, because Twitter is all emotion, and it's all it's all hyperbole, and just everybody kind of like going for the throat. But I'd like to think that you could have a civilized conversation about these things. If it wasn't on the internet, where you could like sit down and actually talk to it. I actually would love to be on a show with Heather. I would be very respectful. Because I do respect her as a human being. I would show her that dignity, even if I disagree with the things that she said. And I just think that we need a higher level of discourse. So I think, Doc going with the emotion, that is exactly what we are saying that comic book professionals should not be doing. They should not be reacting with emotion. They should not be talking shit. They should not be antagonizing. And then that's exactly what he did. So, that's one of those things where it's like, you got to go, hey, buddy, I love you, but I think you're in the wrong here. And I think that, I think maybe you should apologize. If we're asking Tom King to apologize.
And I'll tell you, this is how I live my life, Aaron. Would I want someone to say that to my sister or mother?
Exactly.
Or my wife?
You say that to my sister or my mother, then we're fighting. That we're in a fight. That's what's going to happen. We all have to look at the way that we treat each other and the way that we act in public. And we have to expect more of ourselves and expect more of each other, and more of our friends and more of our family, and encourage each other in that way. So to Doc, I just got to say, I disagree with that, man. I think that you should apologize. I think it was uncalled for. I know what you were doing. You were going for the visceral thing. You were pissed off. You wanted to hit where it hurts.
He wanted the internet hand jobs.
I know. I coined that, and now I can't stop saying it. but yeah, it's it's one of those things. Like, I don't want to be praised on the internet. That doesn't, by strangers. That doesn't mean anything to me. I want people that I am friends with, people that I care about. I want to be respectful and respectable. So, I hope. So let me, on behalf of Doc, I just want to say to Heather Antos, she's not listening, but I would put it out there that I am sorry that was said to you. I do not agree with that. I don't think anything negative of you, personally. All of my criticism is just basically based on the things that you say and kind of like where you're coming from. And, it's a merit-based argument. And you can disagree with me in the same way, but there's no need for it to be personal. And I apologize that it got taken there.
Yeah, it was definitely unfortunate. And like I said, I feel embarrassed for Doc, I know the guy. He got too much into the moment, just like Heather did, and obviously Tom King did, and Tim Doyle did, and Ramon Villalobos and Richard Pace did. He kind of got caught up, and it was all wrong in my opinion. So, Aaron, I do really appreciate the time. This is going to put a bow on this subject. I don't plan on revisiting it. I probably talk about it too much, but I think we took a different approach to the conversation in each different one. So I really appreciate you coming on. You have a really level head about this. I always appreciate your insight. Is there anything else that you needed to get out before we wrap this up?
Like you said, it's come full circle now. We were there at the beginning of this situation. Now we're closing it out, and hopefully, it'd be nice if we could just all have a beer together and laugh about it. But that's not going to happen. But we can move forward amicably and just wait for the next big controversy, I guess.
Just around the corner.